You probably have money in a savings account right now. And here is the uncomfortable truth. That money is losing value every single day. There are no hidden fees draining it. No one is stealing from you. In fact, if you log into your app, the number on your screen stays exactly the same, or even ticks up a little bit at the end of the month. Leaving your cash there feels safe. It feels like the responsible adult thing to do. But beneath that clean interface and calm surface, a slow erosion is quietly eating away at your cash. That culprit is inflation, and it proves a harsh reality. Feeling safe and actually being financially secure are two completely different things when your parked cash is constantly deteriorating in the real world. Let's look at the math your bank rarely advertises. The average savings account in India pays somewhere between 3 and 4% interest per year. We'll be generous and call it 3.5%. Meanwhile, India's average inflation rate over the last decade has hovered right around 6%. That means the cost of everything you need to survive, rent, groceries, fuel, healthcare, goes up by roughly 6% annually. Earning 3.5% while costs rise 6% yields a negative 2.5% real return. Your 1 lakh deposit's actual purchasing power drops to 97,500 in 1 year and plummets to 88,000 after 5 years. The number on your screen goes up, but your actual wealth goes down. That rising balance is nothing more than a psychological illusion. So why doesn't anyone at the branch sit you down and explain this erosion? Simply put, it is not in their interest to tell you. This diagram illustrates the core banking model. Banks take your deposits, pay you 3.5%, then lend your money out for home loans, personal loans, and credit cards at 10 to 15%. They pocket the massive difference in the middle. They aren't doing anything illegal. They are running a highly efficient business. But you need to recognize that this specific business model puts the passive saver at a heavy disadvantage. This is exactly why the standard advice you hear to simply save more money falls short. It tells you half the story, entirely leaving out the necessity of an investment strategy. Trying to build wealth solely through a savings account is like running on a treadmill. You put in the sweat and feel like you're moving, but the ground beneath you is actively fighting your progress against the rising cost of living. You shouldn't close your savings account. It has a specific job, acting as an operational buffer. It's where your salary lands, where your bills are paid from, and where you keep about 1 to 2 months of living expenses. But everything beyond that buffer needs to be deployed with purpose. Your emergency fund, the 3 to 6 months of living expenses you might need quickly, belongs in a liquid mutual fund. It earns a better rate that actually fights inflation, and you can still withdraw it within 24 hours. Then, look at the capital you won't need to touch for at least 3 years. That money goes into an index fund SIP. Historically, broad market funds have captured long-term growth rates around 12% annually. For your specific tax-saving goals, structured instruments like PPF and ELSS step in. They offer safety and tax benefits while reliably outpacing inflation. Protecting your total wealth from inflation depends on categorizing your money and giving every rupee a specific job based on exactly when you need to access it. Let's look at the actual numbers over a decade to see exactly how much this categorization matters, starting with a 50,000 rupee deposit. This graph on the left shows what happens if you leave that 50,000 in a standard savings account. Over 10 years at 3.5%, it slowly crawls to 70,000 rupees. And as we proved earlier, after factoring in inflation, you have actually lost purchasing power. Now look at the right side. If you move that exact same 50,000 rupees into an index fund growing at a historical 12% rate, it climbs to 1.55 lakh over the exact same time frame. It is the exact same amount of initial capital over the exact same decade. The only difference between a shrinking net worth and a growing one is how that capital was deployed. You can plug this leak today with a simple 3-step plan. Step 1 is identifying your idle cash. Look at your checking and savings balances. Calculate 2 months of your standard living expenses and target anything sitting above that line. Step 2 is opening an account on any SEBI-registered mutual fund platform. The entire KYC process is digital, requires 0 branch visits, and takes about 15 minutes to complete on your phone. Step 3 is automation. Set up your liquid fund for emergencies and your SIP for long-term growth, and automate the monthly transfers. You want to completely remove your own memory and emotional friction from the equation. That is all it takes. You spend one afternoon organizing a structured setup, and you permanently fix an invisible leak that would have cost you money every single year for the rest of your life. Think of your savings account as a waiting room for capital, rather than a final destination. It excels at liquidity, but it was never designed to store wealth for the long term. The people who manage to build significant wealth in their 30s and 40s rarely have massive salaries. They just figured out early on that idle money inevitably shrinks over time, and they took proactive steps to keep their capital moving. If understanding this silent tax has changed how you view your bank balance, drop a comment below and let me know. And if you haven't already, hit subscribe. Shifting your focus from simply accumulating cash to understanding how to deploy it is the true foundation of building real, lasting wealth. I'll see you next time.